Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tech Motoring. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Fiat 500e, and we're going to be talking about all the things that I like to do to a car when I first get it. Whether it be new, typically when it's used, all the things that go around the car, inspect everything, and then I start getting to fixing certain things on the car. So let's dive in, let's take a look at what we're going to be working on today on the Fiat 500e, and let's give it a shot, see what we can do to make it a little bit better. Hit that subscribe button, stay tuned. We're coming right back. Alright everybody, welcome back. So a few of the things that I like to do when I get a car, typically a used vehicle, is to kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb and see all the things that need to be easily fixed, things that could be cleaned up basically, and see exactly what I personally can do to not only save some money, but also just to make the car look a little bit better. So we have a few projects to do on this car, and I'll probably shoot this video over the course of a couple of weeks as I get the necessary parts and pieces that I need to make this happen. And so I want to kind of go over some of the things that I've noticed with the car that are either broken, missing, dented, whatever the case may be, and we'll kind of dive into what I'm going to do to fix those particular things, and at a little bit of a budget as well. So let's go ahead and dive in, take a look at some of the things that we're going to do today, especially the big one, which are these dents right here on the hood, wherever they are, there they are. And we're going to take a look at those today and see what we can do to fix those dents. And once again, not to make things perfect, because it is a 7-year-old car and it doesn't need to be perfect. It's going to be a daily, if not a drive around town kind of a car where we're just going to park it anywhere and not have to worry too much about it. But if I can make the car look a little bit better at pretty much zero to minimal fees, I'm going to do it. So let's dive in and take a look at some of the things today that we're going to work on, and let's get to fixing. Alright, but for those of you who are new to the channel, let's say that you just came across this particular video. Well, this is our new Fiat 500e. So we just got this car a couple weeks ago in May of 2024. And so I really love the car. It's fantastic. I got so much stuff I'm going to do with this car, so much video content as well. So if you're a Fiat 500e owner, if you're an enthusiast, if you know a lot more about these cars than I do, stick around, because you could probably teach me something that I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of things I don't know about these cars, considering I'm a new owner, and I'm really looking forward to ownership of this car. And I don't know how long I'm going to keep it, but I'm definitely going to keep it as long as I really want to, because this is a really, really fun car, and my wife likes it, so go figure. So we're going to have some fun today. We're going to go over the car, kind of take a look at all the things that we noticed are wrong, broken, missing, like I was saying before, and we're going to kind of go through the process of getting these all fixed and how cheap we can do that. So let's start with the big one. The big one on everybody's mind here is right here, if you can't see it from a mile away. So there are these two very large dents here. There's actually two smaller dents just behind it. In fact, if I could get on a really good angle, you can actually see, there we go, you can kind of see it there. You can see that it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, almost like something fell on the car that had like little feet on it, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these two hit harder, obviously, than the back two. But you can see that there's, yep, there we go. So now you can see that fourth one right there. So you can see that there's 4 equidistant dents in this hood right here, and there's actually a little bit of a paint, I don't know what you would call this. It's like a lifted paint crack right here. I'm not going to do anything about that today. In fact, these two smaller dents, I'm not really going to do much about. But I do want to see if I can pop these dents out a little bit. In fact, if you get really close, you can actually see where it took some of the paint off as well. And it looks like they possibly tried to just touch-up paint it real quick, just to try to make it, you know, obviously protect it from rusting. And I'm assuming this is not aluminum, this hood, but yeah, so protect that from rusting and whatnot. So we're going to see if we can actually get these popped out today. And so I borrowed a little dent popper tool from my father, who had it for, you know, his cars. So we're going to give that a shot today and go over that process. Once again, this is not going to be a how-to guide on how to do this, because I've never done it before, and it's not something that I really want to show people how to do if I'm doing it wrong. But we're going to give it a shot today and just see how that comes out. Moving down the line of the car, everything seems to be on this side of the car. And if you haven't seen the previous video, I actually just put new tires on the car. So I have a video about my experience in that, the price of that, everything like that. I can post that up here so you can take a look at that. But brand new tires on this car now as well, because the front tires were completely roasted. And they were the original tires. They were 7-year-old tires on this car. Now they're a brand new set of shoes. So over here, you can see we're missing this plastic piece that goes in here that just covers up that part of the mirror. Once again, a very simple and cheap fix that I'm going to buy. You can buy the pair of these things for like 10 or 12 bucks on Amazon. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy those and I'm going to snap that in the future. So that'll be part of this episode as well. It'll just be a little bit into the future. Right over here, you might be able to see it, but we have this little bit of the plastic rocker panel here that is sticking out. So if you could see down there, not sure if you can, but there is some adhesive that holds this piece in place, and it looks like that adhesive has just given away. And so what we're going to try to do is do I do it the easy way and I just try to stick a piece of adhesive tape in there and try to get it to stick, or do I try to take all this off and redo it properly? I haven't decided yet on it. Once again, I don't want to spend an absorbent amount of time and effort and money on this car because, you know, this is just going to be the used get around town vehicle. So yeah, so those are the 3 big things that we're going to do today. On top of that, we're also going to be going and just taking off the dealer sticker off the back. I hate when dealers do this to cars. I absolutely hate it. Used or new, I hate having those on the back of a car. It has to go. And that's not even the dealer I bought it from either. That's actually the dealer that the dealer bought it from that I bought the car from, if that makes sense. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and take that off today as well. We got a lot of work we're going to do on the car today. Little tiny stuff. We've already gone through, I said it in the initial video when I first bought the car. There were some major scratches on this car, a lot of like paint transfer, especially like here on the mirror. And I got all that stuff out pretty easily. And so I'll put some B-roll footage of that, of the befores and the afters of, you know, the rocker panel on the driver's side was really bad along the bottom there. That got really hammered by something or other. In fact, there's a big chunk of paint missing over there, which I'll show you that real quick. You could take a look for yourself. But right here, this was black when I first got the car. I just kind of touched it up with some white paint. It doesn't match, but it's just something for now. But this whole rocker panel had some major scuff marks and like really just overall, it just looked terrible. But like I said, you'll see the B-roll of it, so no big deal. But other than that, the car is actually in pretty good shape. I'm really excited about this car. And yeah, we're kind of go from there. So let's dive in and take a look at the first thing. Let's pop those dents, because I think that's going to take the longest amount of time today. And let's see how we can get it. All right, so we have, I grabbed these 2 small ones here because they seem to be possibly inside of that realm of what we need to pop this dent out. So I believe we're going to use this slightly smaller one. I'm not sure what the difference is between the patterns on these. Once again, this is not a how-to guide really, as much as just me experimenting with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this one a shot here. We're going to put some glue gun on there, put it onto the car, let it sit for a few minutes, and then we're going to use this tool here to pop it out very slowly and very gradually and see what happens. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get some glue on this. We're going to get this stuck to the hood here, and we'll see what happens. Well, we're not going to probably make it any worse. I mean, I suppose we could pull the dent out too far, which could make it look a little different, or I don't know if it'll make it look worse, but it'll just make it look different. And that's an option. The other option was to pay somebody to do this, which would be anywhere between like $75 and $100 per dent. And honestly, that's just not worth it to me to put all that extra money and effort into this car, because it doesn't need to be that perfect. In fact, I could probably get a brand new hood for this car and get it painted for, you know, $300-400 maybe, and that might even be better, but not gonna do that. All right, got some glue on there. Let's get it on there before it dries. All right, so I went ahead and actually put both of these here because I'm actually just curious to see what the difference is between these two. We'll see if one holds longer than the other one, see if one is any better whatsoever. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our little gizmo here. All right, so there we are. So now we are on the nubby there. So now we just start pulling on this to pull up the dent very gradually. We're going to do it very slowly just to see how this works. And I've watched a few videos on this just to get an idea of exactly how this process works. Once again, it looks like it's one of those things where if you've done this for many years, you know, you probably have the exact eye to look at exactly what it is and to know exactly how it needs to happen. Okay, the glue seems to be stretching, so I don't think we're doing anything else at this point. So let's go ahead and just see. Okay, so that didn't look like it done too much, maybe a little bit. But I think we're going to give that another shot and see what we can do. Alright, so we're going to let that one dry a little bit more to the car. In the meantime, let's give this one a shot here and see what we're looking here. And the other thing I noticed about these dents is it almost looks like they're kind of like a more of like a crease than a dent. It's not like a really perfectly round dent. They almost look like they got hit in a little bit of a crease. So I don't know if this is actually going to work or not. I think it might be just a little bit of a little bit difficult to get these to pop out this way. And it's very hard to get them from behind because there's like an extra panel in the way. And that's where a actual paintless dent repair person would come in handy, because they would have the proper tools to get in there, snake in there properly, and you know, pop the dents out from behind. But unfortunately, I don't have the tools, nor the skills to do that. All right, so that popped off. So let's take a look. Well, the good news is it's no worse. So I think we're going to give that another shot and see what we can figure out here. No, I don't think it did anything. Alright, well, we'll come back to this. I'll try to order some new dent puller thingies. Another thing I did do to the car is I actually did clean out the J1772 port. So this port was looking pretty dark and nasty. There's still a little bit of residue on there, but basically just took a isopropyl alcohol on a cotton swab and just very easily went around the big pins here, cleaned out the ports very gently. I don't recommend doing this a lot, but this port was looking pretty bad, and I was just not going to leave it as such. So yeah, so we got the port cleaned up as well, just to make sure we got as little resistance as possible when we plug the car in. And yeah, so that came out pretty nice as well. And yeah, so I think what we're going to do now is we're just going to move off to the stickers on the back and try to take those off and see how much trouble that gives us. Alright, looks like we got these letters over here that we're going to try to get off today. There's a couple different ways we can do this. One is just by heating it up, but let's see, maybe these are some of those easy ones that can just peel off. Actually, yeah, they kind of do look like they will just peel right off. Oh, it's leaving a little bit of residue. Alright, I think what we're going to do is we're going to hit this with a hair dryer or something. Alright, so we got the letters off the car, and as you can see, it's obviously left the impressions from the letters there. So what I'm going to do now is just going to use a rag here and a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. Now, for some reason, this doesn't take it off. What I'll do is I'll use some like Goo Gone. I typically don't like using Goo Gone on paint like this because it typically leaves like a residue, and it's a pain in the neck to get that residue off. But let's just see what this does here. So this is very easily getting off the residue of the black stuff there. I can still feel, you can still see the outline of the airport, the bigger letters there. So it might just take us a little bit of time to go through this, but yeah, we'll see what we can do with this. I think we can get this off in just a few passes here. And now, because alcohol has a tendency of like basically removing everything off of your paint, all your layers of protection and whatnot, I'm just gonna hit it with some quick wax real quick just to keep it sustained for now. This way, you know, it'll be protected until I get back around to it. This is not exactly the greatest way to do this, but you know what? For now, this will be just fine. I'm also having this issue with the car. If you look right here, you can see how this is very loose, and I can actually pull it out quite a bit, as you can see here. So obviously these clips are a little bit loose inside of here, and I'm trying to figure out how to... Sorry, I wasn't doing a very good job with the camera there. I'm trying to figure out how to get in there so I can maybe redo those clips. So yeah, I think we're gonna dive in and see what we can do about that. All right, so pretty cool. We got the back interior panel off of the hatch here, and we can see the motor for the rear wiper. So that's pretty interesting. Up here you can see the bolts that are holding on that back piece on the trunk lid there, or whatever you want to refer to that as, the hatch lid, I guess. So I think what we're gonna do is maybe just looks like there's some clips here. So I think we can get this off pretty quickly. Let's see what we can do. All right, well, I got the back latch release trim off the car here, and I thought there would be more of a way to get in here, but it doesn't look like there is. So this is sealed up, you know, for weather resistance and whatnot. So I'll need to figure out exactly how I'm going to get this. Maybe I need to just pop this out a little bit, and maybe I could do that with a plastic tool or something, but that's going to be next on my list. You can get it. I can get it out quite a bit, but don't want to break anything either. Let's see what I can do. All right, so I was able to get this popped out. So I think now what I'm going to try to do, if I'm really gentle about it, is try to pry these plastic pieces just a little bit more away from this plastic and see if I could get it to sit better inside of this trim here. Let's see what I can do. All right, well, not bad, actually. So as you can see here, it's not coming out anymore. I can push up on it to the button, and seems to be pretty sturdy. Will this last forever? Of course not, but it'll at least last for now, and this piece is now fixed up. Cool. Let's get it cleaned up and put back in the car. All right, just giving it a quick test, and there we go. That's how it's supposed to be. Push up. You hear the latch unlatch. Perfect. All right, let's put this all back together now. Oh yeah, look what I just got in. The plastic piece for the mirror cover here. Let's see. I think it just goes like this. And there we go. Beautiful. A set of these, left and right, costed me less than $10 on Amazon. Well worth it. All right, one of the next things I want to work on in this car is this right here. This is, as you can see, it's very loose, very rattly. You can actually see the stalks actually move each other. So if I push down on this, it moves the wiper stalk here. So I'm going to see if I could figure out how to maybe tighten this thing up a little bit. It is just loosey-goosey here. So yeah, let's see if we can take the screws out of the bottom and see if we can get in there. So it really just looks like, I took this screw out, but it really just looks like these screws are just not tight. But when I try to tighten them, they don't get any tighter. So I think maybe either these screws were replaced at one point or something. So yeah, I'm going to take this all down and see what's underneath here and kind of go from there. But this was the screw that came out of this side, but I couldn't tighten it anymore. So we'll have to take a look at that. All right, don't know if you can see it, but there's definitely, after looking closer, you can see that there's definitely some plastic missing that holds the screw to this plastic trim piece here. So whatever that, you know, plastic that used to be there is now just completely gone. So I don't know what I can do to fix this other than maybe putting a large washer in there. So I guess we're gonna have to experiment and see what I can do. All right, so I was able to get the bottom half off pretty easily. Actually, you can see these little clips. There's one on each side, so you just push this in, and then it kind of pops down pretty easily. This looks pretty stable there, but as you can see here is where the issue lies. You can see that this has a post in it with, you know, a bottom to it, and this one, the post is completely gone. So definitely some issues there. You can see a piece of plastic there at the bottom. So I do want to fix this, and I kind of want to fix it correctly, but I don't know what I need to do. It looks like I might have a part number, which is kind of helpful. Maybe I can find this part. let's see what I can find on this. All right, well, scratch that idea. Turns out this piece on Amazon and a bunch of places is anywhere between like $90 and $120 for this plastic shroud piece. So maybe I head out to a junkyard one day and try to find an extra one. But I think what I'm going to do is try to find a way to, yeah, just try to build something here. Let's see what I could do. Look at that. It actually says right on it, it's inferior. Huh. It even knows on it how terrible of a piece this is. Alright, while I'm working on a solution for this under part here, I'm noticing that this is what's causing the roll here of the stalks, and it looks like, this might be hard to see, but there's a bolt right there that looks like it's tight, but I think I'm going to give it a shot, see if I can tighten that up a little bit, because it looks like it's a clamp that clamps around the steering column there. So I'm going to give that a shot and see if that helps at all. Look at this. Nice and tight now. So that bolt needed to be turned probably about a good turn and a half, maybe even 2 turns. I got on that, and now this whole thing is nice and tight. So now the stalks are not jumping back and forth. In the meantime, I'm still working on the bottom part here, and I have an idea. It's going to be kind of cheesy, but I'm going to give it a shot and see what it does. All right, everybody, get ready for a laugh. Here it comes. So here is my solution for fixing this. So what I do here is I'm going to take these caps off of like a spray bottle like this. And these caps, after I've trimmed them up, fit nearly perfectly over the mount or the stem or the whatever you want to call it for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these caps to this, and I already drilled a small hole in the top, and I'm going to use a small self-tapping screw to screw up through this cap and into the car. That should do a pretty decent job of holding this all together now. I'm hoping. So let's get these glued on and see how well it works. All right, well, gave this about 30-40 minutes to just kind of cure. And yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and get it back in the car with some different screws this time and see how well this works. So let's give it a shot. This might be my most ridiculous fix ever. And so what we're going to be using today, I'm going to try to use these stainless steel screws here instead of these larger ones. I don't know if these are the factory screws or if these were just thrown in by somebody trying to fix this initially, but these just seemed like they were too long, like they would bottom out in the steering column. So we're going to try these short stainless steel ones. They don't have to be stainless, just that's what I had laying around in that size. So, whoop. And they're gone. They're in the seat. All right, well, we're going to go give those a shot and see how this works. Well, I hate to say it, everybody, but that actually did a pretty good job of tightening this all up. We still have a little bit of rattle, but I think that's pretty typical for the Fiat, actually. And, yeah, so really, really good. And look at the stalks now. I can move one stalk, and it doesn't move the other stalk, which is awesome. So now this is all tightened up and ready to go. And now this is not a rattle trap anymore. You can see that, push on it, move it, and it is pretty darn good. All right, everybody. Well, you join me now about 4 months after we've purchased the Fiat 500e. And let me tell you something, we really love this car. It's been a great addition to the tech motoring fleet. The rest are in the garage there, but we have such a ton of fun with this car. And this was just a quick video to kind of show you, what you can do to take a used car, maybe one that wasn't as loved as you would normally do it, and put some effort into, getting it fixed up, getting it, to a better state. And then, of course, when you go to resell it, you could say, hey, listen, I did all this stuff under my ownership, and this car is now better for it. And, you might be able to get a couple $100 more for the car or whatever just because of that. But You know, that's the thing, is like just loving your car and just giving it everything you have just to make sure that it is going to have, you know, its best life with you. And of course, you know, we did the tires. I did a separate episode for the tires. Those are going pretty well. Feels really, really good on the new tires. We took care of this little plastic piece. Cheap, cheap, cheap to fix that. We just cleaned up the bottom of the car with some, you know, compound, and then waxed it and cleaned it up. Got all those scratches and you know, road tar and debris off of it and everything, just to clean it up. Got that back handle fixed here right above the license plate, so now that's nice and tight. It's not falling out. The biggest thing here was obviously that piece underneath the steering column. This is now nice and tight. It's not jostling and moving around and causing all sorts of rattles. Obviously our stalks are nice and tight now as well, which is awesome. That all looks really good. But we're having such a good time with this car overall. So let me turn you around for a second. So yeah, overall, you know, having this car for 4 months, we absolutely love it. We think this is just a fantastic run around town car. You could park it pretty much anywhere because it's small, it's nimble, it's easy to get around. Everybody that's driven it absolutely loves this car. They just think it's the funnest thing you can have. And of course, with it being electric, it's also a ton of fun. But anyway, when you buy a used car, just look over the car. You might be able to spend 20 or 50 bucks on the car, get it cleaned up, make it look good. And you know what? You can say, hey, listen, I did this to my car. I made it better in my ownership. And, you know, you can be proud of that stuff as well. I always love that. When I buy a used car, I'm always so quick to try to fix it up, clean it up. And this is a 7-year-old car, keep in mind. So this has been through 7 years of ownership. Granted, not many miles on the car, but still 7 years of this car being around. And you know, we got a lot of work to do left on it. I do want to give it a good coating of wax and make sure that it's, you know, up to snuff as far as protection, because this car is going to primarily be sitting outside anyway. So we do have a couple more things that we want to do with the car to improve it and just make it easier for living with it day to day. But other than that, thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. Once again, if you're an enthusiast of the Fiat 500es, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I got some more videos in the queue that I'm working on to get out, so we could take a look at my ownership experience with the Fiat 500e. And of course, if anything major happens, I'll make sure to let everybody know and update this channel, of course, accordingly. Anyway, thanks again very much again for watching another episode of Tech Motoring, and we'll see you on the next one. Remember, welcome to the future. Welcome to Tech Motoring. We'll see you soon.